guys, welcome back to our YouTube channel. I'm here with Jeff from V-Twin Visionary.
How you doing?
Hi, I'm good.
I'm great.
We have him here for a little while, and I thought we would ask him a few questions and get to know him and how V-Twin Visionary started. Do you want to tell me about that?
Yeah, I mean, I was the editor and then brand director of three of the largest, motorcycle magazines in the United States, which was Hot Bike, Baggers, and Street Chopper.
Okay.
And then, when the bottom fell out of the whole magazine world, so did I. And I sat at home figuring out what I want to do with my life. And my wife was a nurse at the time, and she was the breadwinner. And I got to sit around the house for about 4 months and really reflect on what I wanted to do. And I got a hold of a good friend of mine, David Rowe, who's my partner, and I worked with him at Hot Bike as well. And we formed what is now V-Twin Visionary.
So it started as an internet magazine.
Yeah, it was just an online thing, social media, online stuff. Just doing the same thing I did in the magazine world.
But a newsletter.
But yeah.
Very cool.
So it was pretty cool.
And the name?
Well, what was crazy is we were throwing around all these names. And everything from Throttle Slayers to,
Cool.
we had so many names. Yeah, we still own it. And then, no joke, about 3 a.m. one night I woke up and the name V-Twin Visionary was stuck in my head.
And it's perfect.
Yeah, and what I talk about is I'm not the V-Twin Visionary. All the people I report on and the bikes, that's the visionary stuff.
Right, it makes perfect sense.
I've always kind of called it, I kind of, cultivate these people and put them together and, do a lot of cool stuff in the industry and the business, bike shows and meeting people and coming out to different places this, and visits and things like that, and then reporting on it and sending it out to, all my readers, fans, and followers.
Very cool. So then after your newsletter, then you started working with aftermarket companies?
Yes. We always would do a bike build. I'm constantly building bikes one after the other. Now we're doing them like 3 at a time. So, partnering up with different companies, whether, I was always really performance-based. I know that's kind of now the hot,
now it's the hot
thing. But 20 years ago, we were putting, dirt bike shocks and front ends on, street bike front ends and on bikes and doing all this crazy stuff. And now we're very fortunate enough to have all this stuff at our fingertips where you can go online and get reviews on how good stuff is. And, hopefully you come to V-Twin Visionary for that, to kind of see what goes on with that. And then, being able to build these bikes, that kind of got us some notoriety. And then we were doing assorted shows around the country. And then Harley took notice of that, and they're our biggest partner. They're our presenting partner. So we do, 15 shows with them a year, and we do a total of 32 shows a year.
And so how did that happen?
That happened pretty crazily. We ended up just doing little shows. We'd have a couple shows in Sturgis, a couple shows in Daytona, local shows when we were in California. And then Harley signed on for a couple shows to do things, and then the pandemic happened.
Okay.
And Harley, of course, being a corporate giant, had to pull back. So they pulled everybody off the road. They did no activations, and they entrusted us to do these shows and activations with them.
So you just got a phone call, or they saw a bike, one of your builds, and said, "Hey."
That kind of And then during the pandemic, we ended up doing way more for them and with them because they couldn't. And it grew
really
into
cool.
a larger thing. So now we have a multi-year deal with them, and we just do all this cool stuff with them.
So awesome.
Yeah.
So you get to travel a lot?
Yes. Yeah, we're gone most of the year. My wife Maggie's like, I'm going to get off the road and raise chickens in Tennessee this year. So,
that sounds fun.
She's going to do a lot of gardening and chickening and come out to the big shows. But yeah, during the pandemic, we lived in Phoenix. And then we had the great idea to get a 45-foot toy hauler and live in it.
Oh.
So we moved out of Phoenix, moved into toy hauler for 2.5 years. So we were literally everywhere across country, truck stops, gas stations, national parks,
I would love
all this
that.
cool stuff. We got to do that. And then we ended up deciding we want to move to Tennessee. We bought a plot of land, 4-acre plot of land, which is now the V-Twin Visionary headquarters.
Okay.
But it was crazy. We ended up living in the trailer there for like
So
a year.
while you were on the road, you were writing your newsletter and
Yes,
starting.
doing everything. Posting from, a really janky Wi-Fi system we had now. Now we have Starlink, so it's awesome. But before it was horrible. Or going to Starbucks and McDonald's, and I'd write my features and send them up. And
Starbucks.
yeah, we send out our weekly email newsletter too. So it's like pretty crazy.
That's a really cool story.
Yeah.
Tell me about the headquarters.
So the headquarters, we ended up building it, and it's in a cattle field pretty much. Like there's 400 acres of cattle land behind us, a couple hundred acres to the side of us, very few houses. It's in southern
And by
East
cattle land,
Tennessee.
you mean the cattle's still
Cattle's
there?
still there. You hear them all night.
Cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And then we built a shop there. We built a small shop, 1,000 square foot. We have a 2,000 square foot house there, and then we're going to build a pretty crazy 120 by 60 building next year.
And that's where you do your builds.
We're going to be doing everything out of there. So we'll have our podcast studio in there. We'll have we'll have a studio for V-Twin Visionary, a bike build studio for V-Twin Visionary, one for V-Twin Daily, and then just kind of one where anybody can come in and do stuff with
And
videos.
what's V-Twin Daily?
So V-Twin Daily is our sister brand. It is more broadly based. It's kind of a Harley-Davidson catch-all. So
Okay.
it's more like, bagger stuff and, a lot of stuff that you guys do, that kind of product. Very, slip-on muffler reviews, things like that. It's definitely big. We do a lot of fun stuff with that. And then keep all the racy and performance stuff on V-Twin Visionary.
Okay. That was a good way to split.
Yeah, it's
them.
good. It worked out really well.
Okay. Cool. So what are your plans this year?
This year we're on the road, of course. We've done 2 of our 32 shows, so we have 30 more to go. We also do a thing called Dealer Drop-In, which is kind of cool, where we go to Harley dealers around the country and say hi, take the temperature of what they're doing,
You were just telling me that.
It's pretty cool. Show off some parts and show off what we do and how they can connect with us and Harley on a different level than they do at the retail level.
Okay.
So that's a lot of fun too. We do a thing called, we go and visit bike builders now on the road and shoot videos like this with them. And it's pretty cool. Like we mixed it up a ton.
Sounds like fun.
Yeah.
And you get to bring your wife and
my guys and my dogs usually. It's been crazy.
That's fun.
It's a lot of fun. We get to do what we want. I'm going to fly a lot more this year because I had some health issues last year, and my wife wants me to kind of chill a little bit, but I can't. So I was like, how about if I fly more? And our road manager, John Freeman,
smell the roses.
Yeah. So John Freeman will be on the road taking care of all the stuff I took care of before.
Okay.
So
that sounds like a good plan.
yeah, it's a good plan. I know everybody says they want me around a little longer.
Yeah. Yeah. We all have to slow down a little bit.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about the builds for this year. For next show would be Sturgis.
Yeah, we're building. This year we built a bike. Last year we built a bike called Killer CVO. We took a CVO ST and put a bunch of rad parts on it. Didn't really modify the motor or anything because the 121-inch motor is pretty beefy. So then I had the great idea early this year, to build a bike called the CVO Killer. We had the Killer CVO. I have a CVO Killer. So the CVO Killer is also a road glide. We started with a base model road glide. Built it with a Harley 131 kit. A bunch of carbon fiber everywhere. A bunch of cool parts from our partners. And then we topped it off with a trash turbo.
That sounds pretty
awesome. It's going to be, once it hits the dyno, when we get back to Tennessee, I'm sure it'll be over 200 horsepower.
I can't wait to see it.
It's pretty crazy. So that one definitely will even slay the CVO RR.
Awesome. What?
Yeah, and then, the reason we came out to California is to visit you to get some parts for a bike we're building, which is really cool. I love that.
Can't wait to see.
Yeah, you'll be seeing all that on
them on
both
your
of our
bike.
channels. The CVO RR, luckily I was privy to it before the launch of it and got to see it and see some cool stuff. And they actually launched it during our bike show, in the middle of our bike show at Daytona, with Harley. So that was really cool too.
One of our local Harleys, Quaid Harley-Davidson, sold one. Hopefully we'll get a chance to see it. They're going to be able to have it on the floor for a week.
They are so cool.
Yeah.
I mean, it's this all the stuff that the race team has on their bikes. All those same manufacturers built parts for those bikes. So you're literally getting a race bike. I mean, it doesn't have a chain drive. It's got a belt still. There's a couple other things that keep it DOT legal and streetable. But I mean, that bike is crazy. I mean, it's
I wonder if
152
we'll
horsepower.
see them on the road. 131 across the U.S.
I mean, they're going to be dependable. So I mean, you never know. I mean, I'm sure there's going to be a ton of people riding them, but I think a large supply of those bikes will be at show bikes. People's personal collections.
Hopefully
cool
not
bike.
just sitting in the garage, but
But probably.
yeah.
But I think what that bike allows Harley to do is build maybe a $75,000 bike that everybody can afford, that is race ready or close to race ready. Maybe it doesn't have, a one-piece billet aluminum swing arm like the one does, or any of the other really crazy stuff that the RR has. But I think it would be kind of cool to have I hope they would do a race series where you could buy a bagger and race it. That would be amazing.
I wonder if they'll ever do that.
I hope they do. I hope they're listening to me right now.
And they do. They do listen.
I know.
We met, oh my goodness, I can't remember his name. Was it Matt? He was amazing. Really liked him. But he said they're always listening.
Oh yeah, they're very attentive to what we do,
They listen to the customers.
Yeah. I'm the head of design. Brad is a good friend of mine. So we talk about cool stuff and get to see stuff. Sometimes we get to see stuff a little earlier than a lot of other people. I've been NDA'd up a bunch throughout the years with Harley on stuff. And I just think that the brand is seeing such a new resurgence of greatness with the 24s, and even, of course, with, the bikes behind us with the Softail line, and then the new Nightsters.
So a couple of years ago, we came out with the ST fairing that blew the market. We get so many calls on it, and we just recently made the carbon fiber.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy, man. Looking at this carbon and how quality it is it's really nice. And I mean, for me to be able to see, first of all, you guys come out with this fairing and blow minds. And I was fortunate enough to get one to install on a bike, and to see the quality of it. Whether I've seen other quality not so good with other fairings in the past, and I think that this OEM quality stuff, it installed insanely good, and to be blessed with a carbon one for our next Softail project is pretty awesome too.
Thank you, and I'm so excited about the color fiber.
Yeah, I think having that cool tinted fiber.
Yes.
What'd you say, gold, red?
Gold, red, blue.
Oh, that's going to be awesome.
Yeah,
so
it is.
It'll match their BST carbon fiber wheels that they can get tinted as well. So I mean, I think it's what I'm going to have to do is buy some carbon wheels to match.
I'll have to show you one.
Yes.
I have one back there.
That's awesome.
Two, actually. Gold and blue.
Oh, it's so cool. But I mean, it's not just the outer fairing on these that is really good. I mean, the inner fairing structure is insane, how well it's made, and when you mount it up, how it just doesn't move. It's pretty great.
Thank you. Can't wait to see it on the bike.
Yeah, we're gonna do some fun stuff with it, so it'll be super awesome real quick.
Tell me a little bit more about aftermarket parts.
So for us, to see the crop of really, really nice aftermarket parts coming out that are, easily bolted on for years. I mean, this being one of them. For years, you had to make sure you had a hacksaw and a hammer to get a lot of the stuff on these bikes, especially with bodywork and things like that, and bag brackets and things like that. And to see a lot of companies, especially Advanblack, taking the bull by the horns and making sure this stuff fits, it makes the industry better as a whole. It keeps consumers happy, because, in this Amazon Prime age where you don't get to see and touch something, and it comes to your door and it's trash, it doesn't help any of us.
Yeah.
So I think, definitely you guys lead the charge for aftermarket on quality stuff as far as bodywork.
And easy install.
Easy install, kids.
Yes.
That's the key. You don't want to be out there. The people that buy these things, they have jobs. They work 60 hours a week, So at night, once the kids are in bed or everybody's in bed, they're out there tinkering on their bikes. Or on the weekends, like it can't take weeks. It should only take hours to put these things on, not weeks.
And thankfully, we have Steve doing YouTube installation videos on each part.
Yeah, very good ones too. So
He's great at that.
yeah, I think that, as far as the amount of quality aftermarket stuff coming out, it's great, but you guys are definitely leading the charge when it comes to bodywork.
We do our best. So did you see all of our new colors? We brought in a lot of 25 colors. We finished the 24 colors.
Yeah.
We're working on CVO colors.
That's crazy to be able to match all that, or order a full CVO colored set for your Softail.
Or for a new
Or
bike.
for a brand new bike, anything, you know what I'm saying? It's really, really cool to be able to play with the colors like that. But I mean, there's a lot of colors that are pretty technical. I mean, you guys being able to nail those colors is a feat.
Thank you. We also did a bundle where you could buy every piece and have it airbrushed,
Wow.
kind of like this bike
Yeah.
here behind us.
That's really cool. I mean, I'm sure it's just its infancy, but I mean, that's kind of with the way that design goes, to be able to purchase that is pretty insane. You don't have
The
to
whole
spend
kit.
15 grand on a paint job anymore.
Buy the parts and then have them painted,
Yeah.
all one step.
That's pretty cool. See, yet again, you guys are killing the game.
Trying to make it
I
easier.
love it.
Easier for our consumers.
Yeah, that's cool as hell.
You've been doing this for a while,
Yeah,
huh?
trust me. It's not my first
How long
rodeo.
have you been doing this?
I've been in this industry almost 25 years now.
Okay, and how long have you been talking in front of the camera and writing about
Probably-
this?
Probably 20 of those 25 years.
Yeah, so this is
since
just
the
second
beginning of the
nature to you.
internet. Yeah,
Yeah,
as
that's great.
far as YouTube and it's funny to think that I was a magazine editor before there was an
Internet?
Instagram.
Before there was internet?
Almost. Trust me. It was pretty crazy. Yeah.
With
I mean,
dial-up?
it's funny because, everybody has these little character stickers now of themselves. I had one and I didn't even think about it. I pulled one out of the drawer and it had the piece of tape on it from the year it was made.
Mm-hmm.
And, most people use these to promote their Instagrams. It was before Instagram was even anything.
No,
So it
I
was
never
that
saw
long
it.
ago.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
So what was that, about 20 years ago maybe?
I don't even know. It's pretty nuts.
2000?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know.
Yeah, it's been a while. Because MySpace was, what, the 90s?
Yeah,
Did you have a MySpace?
of course. All the cool stuff. Put your songs up every day.
Yes,
everything.
I remember that.
Oh my God, we're
Prince
dating
songs.
ourselves. Oh,
Yeah.
these kids.
That's
they don't
okay.
know.
They have no idea about dial-up.
Nope. Oh my God.
Yeah. Our AOL email.
AOL. Pat from Lead Sled,
Mm-hmm.
he still has his AOL address.
No.
Yeah.
I didn't even know you
I
still.
guess it forwards to whatever address now.
Oh, I should check mine.
Yeah, see if it goes.
Or do they void it after you don't use it for 20 years?
Probably.
I would
I don't
think.
know. You should try it today. Just
I
to see.
am.
You got to report back to me and the people.
All right. Well, it's been such a pleasure having you here. Thank you so much for stopping by.
We were super excited to come by and see everything. And, I love visiting the manufacturers and then, making videos where we're able to show off the cool stuff and meet the people that actually are behind the scenes and things like that. I mean, this is one of the things that I really love doing with V2 Visionary now. So
Thank you.
thanks for opening your doors to us over here in Pomona, California.
Of course. I think we should take a walk around the warehouse and see what you like.
Yes, let's do this.
All right. Bye.